So welcome back to the channel. This is the first of our demonstration videos, and today we're going to be dealing with grasses. So we've got two types here. This is Carex testacea and Stipa tenuissima. Now the grasses basically fall into two different categories. You've got an evergreen grass and a deciduous grass. Now you could argue that the Stipa tenuissima is more sort of semi-deciduous, but we're going to treat it as a deciduous grass. So a lot of the deciduous grasses can range from ones like this that half of it dies back and then half of it's green, right through to ones that literally die right off to the ground and don't come up until a lot later in the spring. So for all of those, there's one simple technique, and that is, and this is for deciduous grasses only, you trim it down as close to the base as you can within reason. You want to leave probably about ½ an inch to an inch, and you just, with a good secative, give it a good haircut right back like this, and just try and level it off. I've got a little bit out there. Any of the stragglers, get rid of them. And this here is a complete, will completely rejuvenate the foliage. So what will happen over the next kind of 2 to 4 weeks, you'll get small, very soft green shoots coming up there, and then they will create a nice tuft, and in about 4 weeks you'll have a tuft of bright green foliage, none of the dead left in it, and it will then grow on and flower off the top of that. It's absolutely fine. This is not going to kill the grass, it's not going to cause a problem, it's totally fine. Deciduous grasses as well, you'll find you wouldn't even need to cut it, it would just sort of break off, and you'll get some where you get the new foliage coming through the old foliage if you don't do this early enough. So it's best to try and do this before the new shoots come through. Stipa tenuissima is the exception to the rule, as you can trim that down any time to rejuvenate it. So if you start getting a little bit old in the middle of summer, you can trim it back again, and then as you go into autumn, you'll have that fresh foliage all the way through the winter. So that's how you treat deciduous grasses. Then we've got evergreen grasses, which can look a bit like this. This is some of the old foliage and some of the new foliage is coming through. And all you do here, you do not trim these. If you trim them down like we've just done on the Stipa, you'll kill it, or really put it back. So it's not advised. These, you just kind of, if you can, pull them. They're not playing ball. So what I would do here is, through the mound, you kind of run your fingers through. You want to wear gloves really, and be careful because sometimes they can be a little bit sharp. So if you run your fingers through, and you'll pull out any of the sort of dead brown bits, like that. And for most evergreen grasses, a lot of the dead will actually pull straight out from doing this. But then when you've got a little bit of a tougher subject, like this Carex is proving to be, if you actually just bunch it up like that, that again exposes all of the dead grass. So if it won't pull, which some of it is, you could leave it a little bit longer, or you can just kind of bunch it up like this. You've got to need free hands, a bit of a twist, and then cut through again like we've just done on the Stipa. It's proving difficult for the secateurs. So something like that, and then go around the other side. Got it again. Now I know there's new shoots here. That's no problem to cut them. It's if you were to cut the whole lot, the grass tends to give up a little bit if you do that. And if your secateurs do get caught like this, there's a very good and sharp secateurs. You actually just twist the foliage like this, you'll find they go through it a lot better, like that. So that's another little tip. And if we just check how we're looking, again, any little bits, just rip them out. There's a few bits there as well, just get rid of that. And where we've got these rough ends as well, if you want, and it's won't come out like this, you can try it like that. You can give them a little trim across the top, which does kind of flatten them off a bit, but on the overall scheme you don't notice it, and it takes off a little bit more of that dead. And what's going to happen is a lot of these leaves here by the middle of summer are going to be replaced with new ones, especially where they're starting to go brown at the tips. And that there, if you're in the garden situation, that will be a lot cleaner. Of course, this is the soil level, so you wouldn't really see that as much. The grass would be over a little bit more. It's because it's in a pot, it does expose it a little bit. And that's how we go about doing that. So that's the two different types of grasses, deciduous and evergreen, and that's just a little technique on how to deal with them.